Greetings, Skoom Nation. We have some lost footage in this video. It's basically me starting off in the middle of a random point, going through some things that I have written down. Back to the video and enjoy.
Could we not live in the present if we did not forget? Could we not do good if we did not forget our negative desire and refrain from acting? Also thus making promise through law to refrain. Basically, that is...
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah, that's plainly said.
Oh, interesting. Is the ability of remembering one's previous desires and forgoing them and any possible desire in the future. Isn't that basically what a promise is?
Say that again?
Yeah. Is the ability of remembering one's previous desire and forgoing them and any other possible desire in the future. Isn't that basically the definition of a promise? I have this.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's like what law is as well.
Yeah.
Kind of. So
agreeing that you wouldn't or will do something again, and yeah.
Interesting.
Following whatever you say is law of your own. I think that's also a good leader by action. I think any good leader leads by action. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I talked about, like I said, I think just a good leader is defined by, right, them knowing what it takes for those people to follow them.
Yeah, right.
But no, I don't think much, I don't think you have to take action to do that.
No?
No.
Okay, that makes sense. I can agree. I guess it depends on who you're leading. Obviously, if it's a bunch of 5-year-olds, you're going to have to teach them, do it this way, but if it's a bunch of older wise men, then maybe you go over and just tell them how to delegate amongst each other and what the main outcome would be a good leader still. Just knowing who can handle what at what time and at what pace.
100%.
Giving people unrealistic expectations, though, that's not a good leader.
I agree. I mean, this is pretty easy, but yeah, the best way to lead people is just reward them when they do good and, punish them when they do bad.
Right.
That's the number one way. Like whatever, the donkey with the carrot.
Donkey with the carrot?
Well, yeah, that's like a donkey with it's got like a stick
on it. Yeah.
It's just like always chasing it, but it can't because there's a stick.
It's a stick always the perfect distance away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
That's how it feels with a lot of goals these days. There's a stick right in front of me, and it's like, use the goal.
Well, yeah, they call it the rat race, man. They call it economics or whatever, the rat race. We're just a bunch of rats chasing a little piece of cheese and,
Absolutely. I call it the bobber effect.
What's that?
So, if you ever go fishing and you got a little bobber on your line,
okay,
that always stays just above the water, but it doesn't matter how high or shallow the water is.
Okay. And that's good.
That's where the economy sits.
Okay.
We're the bobber, where it's just a little bit out of reach.
Oh man, we'll save that for what I was going to get into. I just wanted to touch on it a little bit about the religion thing, but it has to do with like the slave morality. Nietzsche talks about it a lot, and it kind of goes back to like communication as well, right? Like, we have to accomplish a goal here. Some people have to forgo their own desires so we can all focus on this one goal, which therefore means that, for example, in this case, I'm the leader here. You guys are the slaves. There's a hierarchy, right? So I'm at the top giving orders. You have to put your desires on the back burner so we can all achieve this goal together.
Yeah.
And so those people who are at the slave level, right?
Yeah.
Back to that thing, like, all right, well, this is messed up. Now that guy's a tyrant with power, doing a bunch of human crap. We're down here. We're sacrificing, doing all this crap. Like the consciousness and all these ideas. And then maybe we'll talk about it way more in the future. But yeah, maybe that's how religion got started.
Yeah.
Because now, right, we just start. Yeah. we'll save that way later in the day, but yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me. You know, one thing I've been listening and reading about is like, because when I first was getting on to understanding some of the things I'm talking about or that I wrote down is like, I used to think, all right, well, religion was like a phenomenon, like a psychological phenomenon.
Okay.
Like, just if there's that much people, or if there's, that much people in this long a time span, like it's only a matter of time the brain would construct, an infinite amount of things, and one of them being religion.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of how I used to see it, but now through like reading and learning more and trying to understand it differently.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you, and I think that's where I wouldn't say that's where I'm at, but I would like to understand everything as far as it goes much better, and trying to find out the correct questions to ask without being dismissive or just directly bashful.
Yeah, I mean, the Nietzsche guy is super hard to understand. I definitely can't understand him at all. Oh my goodness! But one thing that he does is, and these are right. There's theories. I'm not saying he's completely right, but one thing that he does is talk about. I guess it's like genealogy. I'm not even sure if I'm saying that right, but right. For example, for like a human, right? That's like all your ancestors in the past.
Yeah.
Like the genealogy of Tyler, whatever it was. His mom and dad, their mom and dads, their mom and dads, back, right?
Absolutely.
Little fish.
Yeah.
He does that with thoughts, religion, fear, like anxiety, like happiness.
Just follow it all the way back.
Well, it's the theories.
Through the entire evolution.
Yep. The theories, freaking really good ones. Like I said, I don't, apparently he's not someone that you would want to just believe wholeheartedly and like not yours. He's super
because everything has a theory, right?
No, that's not why. That's not why. Because that's the same reason why he decided to do what he did, because people were just following the other side of that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And
so he wanted to challenge that directly head on.
Yeah, I mean, that's what started him.
Saying, okay, well, let's take it down to the most basic level and then build back up from here to where we're at now.
Yeah, the point I was making is just he wouldn't want you to read all of his stuff and then just wholeheartedly, dogmatically jump into everything that he said to be the absolute truth, like what some people would do with science or with religion.
Right.
Like, he wouldn't want someone to do that.
That's a good man. Somebody that says, I want to challenge all these things, but I don't want to get the...
Dude, you wouldn't believe... I don't know if just how compelling... Oh, dude, like I said, I'm saving it for a later date, guys. I would love to do it when we potentially have more viewers. I've spent, I don't know, probably 8 months to get I've done this with a couple other things, but yeah, 8 months to get I don't know, maybe 40 lines of things that I could actually say that I understand.
Yeah.
It's hard, dude.
It is.
It's super hard. But...
And also, not only do you understand, but you don't want them to be just so basic that...
Yeah, we're able to explain them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting, man. I don't know. For me, audiobooks, audiobooks are amazing, dude. It's just really amazing, that we could do that. And, it'd be nice if some people did, because, and all people know this. For example, they'd be like, oh, reading a book is better than watching a movie.
Yeah.
Or some people say, oh, the book was better than the movie.
Right.
It's just weird, why do people say that, you think?
Well, I think it taps into a part of their imagination that they weren't using while watching a movie. It's like you turn a part of your brain off while watching a movie. And you can also listen to it maybe even worded differently. It definitely creates you to promote more thought if you just listen to a book. Why they choose that word?
Okay.
Things like that too,
I was listening to, there's this one book that I really like. I'm not a big fiction person, but basically there was this lady who was a therapist, and one of the kids ended up killing themselves or something, and she felt really bad. And on the other side of the story or whatever, there's her sister's like a police sheriff in like Alaska, and there's like this kid who's like hiding in a tree, and so they call the police woman. They're like, oh my god, this girl's in a tree, and it's really weird. What's going on? You need to get down here. And like the girl ends up like, it's a crazy story, but the little girl ended up like her and her mom were like kidnapped and left in the woods.
Oh man.
And like her mom ended up like dying out there, and like the dude left them out there, and she like got raised by like a wolf.
Oh
like,
yeah, you told me about this
forest. Yeah, it's a really good book. And you know, oh, man, like it would be nice. It would be nice to write a book one day. You know, that'd be really, really nice, man.
You know what's crazy is I know someone who's written a book.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was all about science and stuff, but
freaking science, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about science, dude. I hate science.
It was all about science.
People write like there's so many reasons why I dislike science. One is like this is science, right? That thing. People are like, all right, science has already scienced with that. I don't need to touch it.
Yeah, right.
I can just leave it alone
You
now.
don't need to try to debunk it.
It's been
or
science-ified.
think more into it.
And then another reason why I dislike
I think
science.
you're all critical thinking if you think about it.
The other reason why I dislike science is because, I mean, like science is just made to just be disproven by more science.
Right.
Like I make this theory, and like the only goal of that theory is for like some other scientist to come disprove it with another theory.
Eventually.
There's just like throw a bunch of theories, and it's just, oh man. And then, dude, another reason like
So do you think that some of their outcomes are easily debunked, or not so much because it takes another scientist to come and challenge that thought?
well, of course,
I mean,
right?
there's all kinds of different types of science. I think there's like psychology science and
Neuroscience, yeah.
neuroscience. There's all kinds of stuff.
Freaking, I mean, obviously, right? Like, I'm a proponent of science. I use science. Like, apparently, my phone is science and whatever and stuff like that.
Well, from what I understand, everything around us is science.
Yeah. So,
Right? Like even cutting down a tree, there's science that goes into it. From
yeah.
what I'm told, I think it's more geometry, but whatever.
I don't know. I would say it's a love-hate relationship, but there's no love in it. I mean, obviously, I guess there is because I use it, but I don't know, man. It's funny because, I mean, that was my favorite subject in school. Probably yours, too.
No way.
No?
No, I like math.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No way.
That, too.
That and language arts.
Okay.
Language arts is like first, then math. Everything, dude, it goes like language arts, math, recess, lunch, go home. That's how my day went. I like math class. I thought that numbers made a lot of sense.
Math class?
Yeah, numbers make a lot of sense.
This is a good saying, right? It's like, and it's been heard. I've heard it a couple ways, but like, there's free will, right?
Yeah. Supposedly.
Well, like if
We're calling it free will these days. You gotta put the quotes.
where's the free will in 1 + 1 = 2? Like that's like the expression or whatever the quote.
You take 2 ones and then you make 2.
No. Like
What?
Like you have no free will to not say 1 + 1 = 2. I mean, you can, but like
Yeah, I would say it makes 11.
it's supposed to be a joke.
Take away the plus sign, it's at 11 now.
I think it's supposed to be a joke or whatever, but I think that's pretty good.
Where's the free will in math?
Well, and what's the free will in 1 + 1 = 2? Like, you have no free will. Like, it's 2.
I guess so.
No free will.
You
But
can't find me one calculator in the world that you can type 1 + 1 and you're not going to do.
free will's not real, guys. We just proved it here.
Well, 1 times 1 is not 2. 1 times 1 is 1. You get it. So
One way I heard math explained or like numbers explained was like it has to do with like categories and stuff. So like I don't even get it really, but it's like anything that's like they were talking about like apples or whatever, and man, I didn't really explain it. I mean, understand it much, but I don't know. I don't know enough to explain it, but I guess it just has to do with like categorizing.
the only time I like math really is when I take the number of my bank account and times it by my check.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. There's so much to know about out there. That's something that sometimes feels daunting.
Yes.
Super daunting.
Dude, I'm all about that right now.
It's
my
sucks.
personal life is like what do you want to learn about next? At the same time, you don't want to put a cage on just one topic.
That's a good point.
Only learning philosophy or
gosh.
only diving into this one thing.
That's a good point.
Or diving into strictly history.
Oh, dude, don't.
You know, like, that's what's the problem with me. And like,
It is
recently, I'm learning as much as I can. I like to be a cigar aficionado.
Okay.
And how do you balance time from, okay, I want to learn about cigars, but I need to finish this philosophy book I've started, or this ethic book I started, or, you know, there's all these, like, what is that? Personal growth books you can find, you know, like,
Okay.
Ways to be a better conversationist, or ways, you know, there's all sorts of self-help books. And when do you separate from that to go back to what is morals and ethics or values or things like that you and I discuss often? But there's all these things, and it's like,
You just helped me figure it out. At least for me, because I'm right there with you. So that must mean that I don't have my goal figured out, you know, detail oriented enough or abstracted enough or whatever. Like, my goal is still too broad on what I'm trying to achieve with the knowledge I'm taking in.
yeah,
Because
everything.
even just bringing up history is such a good point. Like, you can learn a bunch, but leaving out history has got to be like pretty crucial mistake for like anyone who wants to consider themselves an intellectual.
I definitely agree, because you say, you bring up people like Euphrates, and then you're like, oh, well, Euphrates, what era was that? You know?
Yeah, right? No idea.
Right?
Never heard of him.
You see? Oh, well.
Never heard of him.
Talk about somebody else, like, name a philosopher.
Woo!
Just one.
Anyone?
Anyone. Just one, right now.
Bertrand Russell.
All right, Bertrand Russell. What era was he alive in?
Pretty sure it was as in like, what, 1700s, 1800s?
Okay.
Or century? Or?
Right, century.
So I'm pretty sure he had to have been...
The 1700s?
No. I know it was either the 1800s or the 1900s.
Right. And what else do we know about that guy?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, he was the guy I was talking about with the numbers. He was a lot about, I've listened, but I can't word it back. But it's about numbers, and it's about numbers, so that's really all I can say.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, huh?
Right. See what I'm saying?
People are so smart, man. It's crazy.
And leaving out history is a big part of that. Like, oh, well, this guy was around in this time period and did this, which led to this. What? And how does it affect us still to this day? You said something about numbers. I'm sure he did something big for it.
Yeah, I think he... I don't want to... Because there was a couple that got muddy, but... what is the other guy's names? I can't remember, but... No, it wasn't him. But it goes back to, like, I guess, what are our goals, man? What are our goals with with the knowledge that we have? Like let's say, all right, well...
Dude, I'm in the same boat as you.
If we want to be historians, then boom, we know we want to focus a lot of our time on history.
Right.
But like you brought up, I want to know about philosophy, but I also want to know about cigars, and then so it's that's why we're probably having issues like trying to figure out
where the plateau falls and how to get over the plateau.
No, I wasn't. Well, that's not what I thought you meant. I just thought you meant like how do we like schedule getting to the goal? Like, all right, if I spend whatever
this amount of time on this,
then this amount on that, I would definitely reach this, which would be half philosopher, half cigar aficionado. But since it's not just half, you have more in there.
Yeah.
You already brought up, wanting to know a lot about morals or something and personal growth. So there's all these quadrants, and it's hard to schedule how much time to allocate to get to that.
From one to the other.
Yeah, dude. So that's But is that even something you want to figure out? Because like me, I'm probably not. Like as in like that top goal of like of quadrants of a pie, right? Obviously, right? We don't want to be 100% of just one.
Yeah, no.
So
I would want to be only one.
So would you even want to have a defined,
set goal?
Yeah.
Probably not. I like broad.
I wonder if that
broad spectrums I think are a good thing because there's just more that you know.
I wonder if that would damage us in any way, but I guess technically it would because
one would overlap into something.
Well, that too. Yeah, that's the point I was leading to. Yeah, we're just not optimizing our time. If
that's true.
We're able to plan it out better.
On what percentage do you study sales? Because we're both big into sales.
Yeah.
To what point do we study all of our interests, personal interests?
Huh.
You know, personal interests will be cigars for sure. And while I enjoy a cigar, I can enjoy a good conversation based off of the knowledge I know.
Yeah.
And do we want to discuss sales? Do we want to discuss ethic values? Or, you know, it could be anything. Philosophers or history, you know?
Why even know a bunch of things?
Why even?
Yeah.
Well, it makes you more of an interesting person, and I hope it.
Why does that matter?
I think, well, it's for your grandkids or somebody else. It's not for personal gain, I don't think, unless if you're planning on putting it all into a book and they can reread it generations away.
It's not for personal gain. I mean, technically, I guess it would have to be.
Yeah, but then get what out of it? If it is a personal gain, get what besides just a bunch of knowledge?
Well, it's obviously it has to relate to excise power. Don't get me started. Well, of course, it has to relate. Everything's about that.
Right. Okay. So boom. To then what? Wisdom. Be the wisest guy in the room at a cigar lounge.
Well, that's
where you would go.
That's not your goal. It doesn't sound like.
Be the wisest guy in the cigar room.
Yeah.
No, I like hearing other people's thoughts and standpoints on things, and then I just like to see why that is. I'm more of the why guy.
You ever feel like if you're not like learning, you ever feel like you're just wasting your time?
Yeah.
Is that kind of could be a big goal behind it?
Probably. Because learn about how to be good at communication. So then that's something that you take into the real world every day. I'm in sales. I take good communication into this because I have now confidence. I know what I'm going to say next. I'm not going to try to cut you off while I already know what I'm going to say next. Or I can ask you, what is the best outcome here for you that you're looking for? And then I can put it all together. Everything helps.
You want to do sales, huh?
Yeah.
It's also this dude's birthday, guys. Happy birthday, Tyler. You got an interview tomorrow, don't you?
Yeah.
Bam. Tell me more about that, buddy.
Jumping into sales.
All right. What's the interview? What are you working at, though?
It's going to be a car dealership.
Oh.
Selling cars.
Damn. One of those sleazy car salesmen or what?
No, hopefully not. Hopefully not. I'm a very genuine person. I want to hear what is your goal of getting out of something, and I want to make sure I can make you as happy as you could be when you leave. People call me a people pleaser, but I'm like, I don't like that word. So I don't think I'm a people pleaser. I think that getting to yes, there's no problem in that. And if you're happy with the outcome, then how does that make me a people pleaser?
What's wrong with being a people pleaser?
Well, see, what's wrong with me being a people pleaser is this. Being a people pleaser to me sounds like you're just a yes man that only is going to do whatever you can to make the other person happy, even if it's detrimental to yourself. And I don't think that's right. I don't think that's true.
Well, it probably depends, right? Because I don't know, maybe you gotta be a people pleaser in sales, maybe.
Yeah, well, you could definitely hope for the best for that customer to get out of whatever you just sold them the best of it. Their experience should be good enough to come back to you, and you're honest enough to where there's no hidden agendas.
Okay.
Because that sounds terrible. We can all agree with that.
Would you say you're nervous for your interview tomorrow?
No, I don't believe the emotion of nervousness is something that I get. And it's not because I'm cocky or arrogant, but I think it's just because, well, if I get it good, I'm going to do my personal best at it while I have it. And if I don't get it, then I feel like it wasn't meant for me.
Okay.
That's how I look at things. A lot of things. I've gotten a lot of no's.
So how excited would you be if you get the job?
Oh, do it, what?
That'd be nice.
I'm calling everybody I know.
Yeah, can you call me first?
I'm calling you first.
That would be cool, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully they, because I don't know, maybe they might drag it out. It'd be nice to get kind of a definitive answer right there, like yes, no, thank you, yes.
Well, if they say no, I'm going to ask why.
Yeah.
There's never a problem with sitting down with somebody else and they say, okay, it's an interview, and okay, after the interview, we're not going to go with you. The question is why? What is?
They'll probably say some bologna sandwich.
What is the reason?
I got an idea.
Right?
Well,
I've heard a lot of no's, and I always ask them why.
Well, people usually just, people like to, BS and avoid conflict. So they'll probably be like, oh, we're really early in this process. We got a couple guys coming out the rest of the week. We're gonna give you a call. Yeah, that makes sense, right?
Shenanigans.
Yeah. We got like 10 other guys coming today, man. We can't make a decision until this is all. We sat with everybody. Blah,
Guys,
blah, blah.
if you get that answer I read, shenanigans. Shake their hand, say thank you for your time, and don't call them back.
Well, if they really wanted to hire someone, they probably
You would
on the
know.
spot. Well, it's probably on the spot.
Yeah.
We don't need anybody else, or
If they're saying they have other
This is
people to
exactly
interview,
what we're
you
looking-
probably lost the opportunity.
exactly what we're looking for.
If it's
Let's
not
get this
that,
done.
if your resume and your answers don't give them the best idea of what you're going to bring to them, then it's not worth your time.
What do you think? One of the best ways to? I don't probably neither of us know, but what is one of the best ways to be successful in an interview, job interview?
Well, I can say this. Appearance is a big thing. I know you have to show up as if you're already going to fit the part. Don't overdress if it's not that kind of thing. If you're going to work at a place like a hardware store, walk in khakis and a golf shirt, right? Like just a
Polo.
Yeah, polo. It's got the collar, the 3 buttons. Wear that and some sneakers. Show up in that, and that should be fine. If you're showing up for a sales job, show up with a tie. Make yourself presentable. Make sure you brush your teeth and wear some cologne. Throw some deodorant on. You don't know if the lights get more nervous, start perspiring. But I would definitely say, what was your question again? Those are my three beginners.
Just what are some of the best ways to have some success at a job interview?
Yeah. Okay. Another thing. So, of course, we judge everybody off of personal appearance. Everyone looks at shoes and stuff like that for some reason. As soon as you meet somebody, pay attention to yourself. The next time you do it, you go to the mall, you look around, you notice somebody's shoes every time. You're always looking at their shoes, the way they carry themselves, their posture, whatever. So, yeah, make sure you're looking clean and good. Calmly answer every one of their questions. Don't second guess yourself or anything like that. Don't be too eager to reply. Just, they ask you a question. What's your work history like? Well, boom, you tell them everything you've done. I would say mention the things that they're looking for first. Like for me, I'm going into sales and it's going to be customer service. Well, I know I'm personally very personable and outgoing, and I'm very passionate about what I'm doing. I also say, do pay attention to what you say enough to where you're not overusing words like. The word like is a turnoff for anybody because it's only one letter away from the word lie. So don't sit there and say, well, like, and while I like, and, well, my idea of coming today was like, no, you've lost me. So definitely don't do that. Yeah, I think just, if it helps you, rehearse with a friend. Hey,
Not a bad idea.
you write up a script on you're the person that's hiring me, and I'll write up a script on what I think you should ask, but not give it to your friend, of course. Just say, well, I already know what I'm going to say. Write down some of your resume facts and things like that, and anything they come, try to come back. Well, why do you think you're fit for this job? Well, I'm very personable, I'm a very good listener, and I'm very apprehensive. Okay. Or no, not apprehensive. Apprehensive where you're discouraged all the time. So not apprehensive, don't do that. But it's things like that. Like point out to them why you're going to bring them value. That's what they're there for. They're trying to see, is this person going to bring you value and why? Whenever you shake someone's hand, make sure it's not all brittle and soft and stuff either. People don't like that. People notice too.
It's Good answers.
Yeah.
I got something that maybe could be. Well, I'm hoping it would be potentially a little bit more, a little high level. So I think specific to a sales job type interview, I think if you can go in there and one of your goals is to have, and this would be really hard, to have them speaking more than you, which would be really hard, maybe not possible, but having that as your goal, I think that would be really next level type of advanced interaction that would definitely, I think, work in your favor. But that'd be obviously really hard. It probably couldn't be done, but just having that goal in mind or having that in the back of your mind, I think definitely would really help. It'd be hard though.
I would go in
because they just always be putting everything back to you.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what about you? Tell me about you. Why are you here? Blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah,
Well,
blah.
anybody can ask anybody why you're here. Why are you here?
Yeah, I'm sure they're probably gonna. What makes you want to go into sales?
We're here for you.
We're gonna make you go into sales, buddy.
Yeah, right. Well, I think another thing you could do is if your desire was to make them talk more, ask like
Yeah, that should be.
yeah. So ask questions, and you can ask them questions like, well, what kind of foot traffic does this place get? You know, and what was last month you had a revenue, and who was your best salesman last month, and what did they do? You know,
Good question.
questions like that.
That's a good one.
Yeah, because you want to know foot traffic, especially if you're going to go and sell cars. Right now, we know a lot of car salesmen are doing that online.
True.
So what kind of foot traffic do you guys get through here?
Yeah.
How are you going to benefit me by getting this job?
Yeah, that's a good
Is
point.
a good question.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't think there's a problem with asking questions like that either. It's like trying to figure out how to engage them, so then boom, you're getting things that you can feed off of too to combat with. So, oh well, last year this guy named Smith, he sold 3 cars, you know? Oh yeah? Well, and maybe go about it like, I don't have any experience as of right now in selling cars. I have management experience and I'm very good and personable. So you could ask some questions like, oh yeah, well that would be the guy I want to shadow, first off. And second off, you'd want to say some kind of question that follows that up, you know? I think that's the best way to go about it, is just keep following up questions with more questions, keep them talking,
Yeah.
you know?
Hopefully you get the job.
Yeah, dude, I'm hoping for it.
That'd be super nice, man.
I've been foot on the ground for like 4 days now, and I just walk into places and I give them a phone call. Hey, I'm that guy that was in there the other day, and I was wondering how this is going. And every time I go, I make sure someone writes down my name and phone number. And the place I'm coming back today actually did. And I gave them a follow-up message last night before I went to bed. And today they called me just before a podcast. So that's very good, you know. I mean,
is it scary transferring over kind of career paths here, or
no, I don't think
transferring jobs?
I don't think that fear is an appropriate emotion. Maybe it's more like, this is what I waited for, and now I can't wait to blow it out of the park.
Nice.
You know, because it's like, this is what I begged for it, and to the point to where they see my drive. This guy is begging for it, you know?
It's pretty admirable. I mean, just to summarize real quick, so this guy walked into random establishments, probably well dressed, and do you already have your applications filled out at that point, or didn't even? So yeah, he walks in.
I didn't ask if they were hiring. I told them.
If they were hiring.
No, I walked in.
Wow.
I told them I already applied, and I was doing a follow-up, and then I went home and applied after they confirmed, all right, we'll keep an eye out for your application.
Wow.
Then I went home and applied. Then I did a follow-up phone call.
Yep.
And a follow-up email. Well presented. Always put your name, your phone number. I was in there 2 days ago, and I was, talking to you guys about the position of a sales associate. And yeah, so boom, then they called me back.
That's pretty admirable.
Just keep going in. Keep going in.
How many places did you go to until until this place called?
I was at 4.
4.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was all of the locals right here in my town.
It's a small town, huh?
It's a small town.
Hopefully hopefully, like you said, they get a lot of traffic. So some cars. Is it commission only? Is there base?
Base salary pay and commission. But commission, I'm pretty sure is, you know, I'm going to say I'd be surprised if we get 4%.
Okay.
Yeah. And, you know, that's okay. It's my foot in the door in sales, getting me out of management, getting me out of foreman of my current position.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Let's say, I don't know anything about sales, car sales, but so like I don't know what kind of whatever, you know, commissions we're talking about here, but just for fun, let's pretend, let's say you get, you know, an $8,000 check, $10,000 check, or like in a month, 10 grand in a month, you know, what you gonna do with that money? What would you do?
I like this question very much because
Yeah.
way before I even started touching any amount of money, especially to the degree he's speaking of, is read books about best options, what to do with money management and things like that. And these books, you can find them. They're free all over YouTube, and you can find them, and they'll tell you best ways to invest, people to talk to, things like that. So the first thing I'm going to do, there's this thing called penny stocks.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
I'm jumping to penny stocks first.
Really?
Penny stocks.
All right.
Because penny stocks, it's going to take a long time of it, but it's going to make its own outcome, you know?
Sounds like a long-term investment.
It's a long-term investment.
So it sounds like.
But it's the same thing. I would also go to a bank and ask for a CD, and I want to start a CD account. And yeah, those are the first two things I'm doing. If let's say,
I think it might be a little harder once that money is actually there. Maybe you might want to go spend it.
No, I think that living on a very respectable plane is always the way to go in the beginning. Make that money make itself.
Yeah.
And then start, you know, then you could be a little more reckless later on. But as soon as you touch your first amount, definitely invest in something. Buy a piece of gold or something and put it in a safe or something.
There's a good expression from the book Richest Man in Babylon. I'm sure a lot of people know about the book. It's super good expression and book, but so it's like, I guess you can call it expression, but basically, let's say there's a room full of like 8 people, 10 people. Let's say that guy's making 200 grand, that guy's making 150, that guy's making 100 grand, that guy's making 50 grand, that guy's making 20 grand. You get the point.
Yeah.
Let's say you go up to these people, all of them are broke.
Yes.
They're all making different ranges of money, but none of them have any money. They're all broke. Kind of see where I'm going with that, where that goes?
Well, my mind has one of two options here. Does this have I don't recall if I read this book or not.
Oh, I think you did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you did.
Did I? We might have listened to it together at one point, a long time ago. I'd have to review. I don't know if this book goes into why they're all broke or not, but I have a few conclusions.
Why?
Well, broke is a mindset.
Okay, I've heard that.
Is my first way to say this. I could easily have a large amount in an account, but I don't desire to spend it because I'm under the mindset I'm broke. Why spend this money if I can barely touch it, right? Or they're like a lot of millionaires, and they live so strapped down to large payments a month to where they probably literally are broke. I don't know how the book ends, so that's my two conclusions.
So the first point is, you're right. You're actually right about, because this is expression, maybe people have heard it. There's poor and there's broke.
Yeah.
They're apparently two different things, right?
I think so.
I guess apparently, I believe poor is supposed to be where you have no money or something like that, or where you
Poor is where you actually
financially you don't have
There's
money.
no liquidated cash.
Yeah, and then broke is
The mindset.
yeah, some people say.
Okay.
And then I don't have an opinion on that.
Okay.
But to the second point, yeah, you're right. It's the second point. It's, you know, basically what the thing is trying to explain is, as everybody already knows, the more money that you make, the more money that you spend.
Yeah.
Whether someone is making very, very small amount or someone's making larger amounts,
Yeah.
they probably both are broke and have no money really to show for it.
Right.
Or now they're especially potentially poor. But not really. You get the point.
Right.
So yeah, the book kind of talks about how to go around that issue, and so yeah, that kind of sounds like what you're trying to do.
Yeah,
what you would
exactly.
be doing.
I would go around the issue of
Living below your means.
Live below your means.
Yeah, I'm
So-
making $8,000. You know, I'm only going to spend $1,500 to live off, and I'm going to save the rest.
Because
As
think about
opposed
it, if your whole life you get used to living off of $35,000 to $40,000 a year,
Yeah.
and then one year you make maybe a step up in your career or something, and now you get into the $50,000 to $60,000 bracket.
Yeah.
Well, you can look at it as one of two ways. Oh, now I can afford that new car, but can you afford the monthly payments of that car? Is the question.
Sure.
And the life that you were once comfortable with, whereas you and I were comfortable with, as we are now, and smoking cigars as a pastime, right? This would be our hobby. So we're living about our means now, but if we started to largely make increased amounts of money, would we run off and grab the first brand new humidor on the market? And then
Don't tempt me now.
now we have an empty
That sounds-
humidor in our house.
That sounds
So
fun.
are we going to stash it full of things? Well, I just spent a lot of money on this brand new humidor, and now I can't afford to stash it with the cigars and the cutters and the nice brand new cigar lighters. So it's living within your means still. I would still buy a pack of 20 cigars at a time and just sit on them and chill, even if I had a large jump in my typical income that I was used to.
Yeah,
I think there's only one way to really go wise about it, and I always say this: never buy one expensive thing until you can afford that one expensive thing twice.
Okay, that's a good one. I'd be interested to see, be very interested to see, I would imagine,
Plays out.
typically, everybody knows this stuff, but people don't do it.
Right.
Because I'm sure, once that money comes,
It's a whole different game.
it's a whole different game.
Woo, we're millionaires now, and yada yada. You feel like tapes.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't think that's an appropriate way to act. I do know for a fact that money changes people. Well, let me say this, because he made a really good point to me a long time ago. Let's see if he remembers.
I have great memory.
Money doesn't change people, it enhances who they already were.
That's what they say, that's what they say.
So, me, I've always been extremely humble, but a very giving person. So I guess if I did get my hands onto a large amount of money, I would have to be very advantageous to not bless up everybody I love and care about. Like, just gifting them gifts and maybe even just handing them an envelope of cash.
That'd be nice.
So wouldn't it be a nice thing? But it would be an amazing feeling. But it's an amazing feeling if it's detrimental to you, and now all of a sudden it changes the way you sleep at night.
Yeah.
Is it an amazing feeling? Probably not.
Probably not.
Because now you're back to square one, and then all this hard work is now done for what? I also agree with this, and this is where the carefree giving me struggles with, is you gotta look out for yourself first,
It's true.
And whatever that might mean to you, If that means you get your hands on a large amount of money, now you go blow it on yourself, and you make yourself a new wardrobe, and you feel better, whatever. Is it right? I don't know. I think, like I always say, don't buy one expensive thing till you can afford two of those expensive things, and then don't buy two of those expensive things. Just buy one. If you want a new suit, you just got $1,000, and you see a suit for $300. Well, buy that one suit, sure, but don't splurge. Don't try to spend everything you just had. It's something that I would really hope that people can really take into account and use. Right now, we live in the fastest millionaire growing time period of history.
That's true.
People blow up overnight these days, and then they overdose or something tragic happens because they didn't know how to handle it.
Yeah, drugs are bad. I don't know if we ever talked about drugs. You don't like drugs, do you?
No, they're definitely not appropriate.
Why don't you like drugs?
Well, what's funny about drugs, and I was having this conversation with a friend the other day, and it's like people who, it doesn't matter what your income weekly or biweekly looks like. If you're used to smoking weed, then you're going to still somehow always find money to smoke the weed, even if that means oh, well, now I can complain that I don't have as many meals to eat this week, but I got my weed to smoke, so everything's going to level out and be okay. That might be true, but if it was $20 or you spent $100 on it, you could have saved it and then doubled up on something else later on and then left the weed alone. And people say weed's a gateway drug, but I don't think that's true necessarily. That's debatable, but personally, I don't feel that way. And I have my own personal reasons why I don't feel that way, and that's fine. But
What does that mean?
well, I don't feel like it's ever. Whenever I was smoking weed in the past, I don't think that it's ever led me into smoking anything else. I can tell you what is a very addictive drug is nicotine, and people don't call it a drug, but it is.
I was just about to say nicotine's not a drug.
Nicotine's a drug, buddy. Because think about it, they're addicted to these vapes and stuff just as bad as they're addicted to anything else, or as anyone else could be addicted to something else. Recently, I had just recently quit smoking vape, maybe like 2 months now?
Something like that.
Something like that. Maybe a month and a half, maybe two, I don't know. It's been a while. And I smoke like one cigar a day. And that's kind of where I limit myself, because one stick of a cigar is like $12 to $20. So it's like, well, that's an expensive habit, but it's not necessarily a habit if you don't allow it to be something on a time schedule, you know?
Okay.
With the vapes, it's a time schedule.
Yeah.
Every few minutes. You know, with a cigar, you have to leave your house. You got to go find someplace clean and, you know, nice to sit down and relax in. And then, you know, find a way to entertain yourself by this hour and a half cigar lights or whatever. So there's that. I don't know. Maybe you could call it trading one addiction for another addiction or whatever it may be. Maybe I agree with you, but I think there's no toxins in cigars. I don't believe. I understand that inhaling smoke to any degree is bad for you. But overall, drugs are terrible, and I think the faster you can mature and get away from them, the better. You'll save your money faster, and maybe you'll find something that you like doing as a hobby on the contrary of, you know, getting high with friends or whatever it might be. I don't think it's extremely necessary. So personally, I think it's immature.
You couldn't have said it better. You wrapped it up. You couldn't have said it better. You know, before we wrap up, I'll touch on at least just marijuana for a little bit. It's the only drug I've ever used other than alcohol and nicotine, so it's really the only one I can talk about. But you couldn't have said it any better. You know, it seems to me, which doesn't mean anything, but in reality, it is just immaturity. The reason why I say that is this is pretty biased and general statement, but I imagine potentially, probably for the majority of people, it's probably a stage in their life. You know, I imagine most people probably potentially, I guess probably not the newer young generation now, but probably typically speaking, maybe a little bit in the past, you know, when people grew up and have kids, you know, they typically probably stop smoking weed, you would think? What do you think?
I would tend to disagree with that. And it's unfortunate.
I mean, like, I don't mean, like, I'm talking about the old generation.
The old generation?
Yeah, like our parents or our fathers' fathers. Not the new generation.
Okay, so bringing it to that, saying, before you and I were born,
yeah,
our parents were probably stoners.
Probably, yeah.
As we were born, they clean up their act.
Probably, yeah.
And mature past it.
More or less, I would think. I would imagine.
I think we would imagine.
Do you agree or no?
I don't know. I find it debatable.
Okay.
Very much debatable. Because
I
know some baby boomers, that's my grandparents' generation, that still smoke marijuana. But obviously not my grandparents or anybody like that, but I do know people of that age range that still partake. And I also know current parents that still partake in smoking marijuana. And also the vapes and stuff like that now all the different ways, the waxes and the carts and stuff, make it easier to conceal and whatever. I don't think that...
Well, now we're probably getting super new generation,
but I don't think it's appropriate still. I don't think it's appropriate to be around your kids while you're intoxicated or above the influence in any manner. I don't think it's mature. I don't think that's appropriate at all. And there might be a lot of people that disagree with me, and that's fine. Whenever I was younger, I have 4 kids already. And when I was younger, I used to find it relaxing. I would smoke the bowl and get home from work, smoke the bowl in the car, go inside, lay down on the floor, and all my kids are playing and everything around. But I'm in the room with them, fully awake and aware of what is going on, but I'm much more at relaxation because I'm not bringing home the stresses of work and all the other things. So it helps me separate one from the other. And my kids would just get the best part of me, I was laughing and everything. But I still punch myself now, kick yourself in the butt, whatever you want to call it, because if my child came to me and said, yeah, Dad, I have kids of my own, and, I smoke a J before I go inside, and I go inside and play with them, I'd probably be pretty disappointed. I want to talk to them like, okay, look, I understand how it helps you maybe communicate with them or whatever, but does it really,
Okay.
So, in a perfect world, as far as maturity goes and stuff, I agree that we would like to believe that our parents would partake and then they conceive us and then they grow past it and then they mature into what we now know as somebody who is very rational thinking and whatever else. So I would like to believe that's true, but I don't think that the facts behind it say that it's true.
Fair. So, a couple ways. Thanks for sharing that too.
Yeah.
A couple ways where I'll chop this up, split it up. So, one way is and this is a stretch, but maybe I would imagine, and we could talk about the newer age people here, whatever you call them, new generation.
Okay.
But I imagine if you were to take all these people, new and old, or just all weed smokers, and maybe if you were like, hey, you plan to smoke weed until you die? I don't know. I'd repress that just for fun. Would call it like 50% would say yes, 50% would say no.
Yeah.
So there's that one point I would chop it up. And the other point is back to the older generation who maybe they got older, they had kids, they stopped smoking weed. What are some jobs that old people do? I don't know.
Mailman.
They became mailmen. Yeah, that's a good one. They became mailmen. Wives would probably stay at home at that point. So maybe that's about 50% of those who did that too. So basically what I'm saying is I personally would potentially feel pretty comfortable saying for maybe 50% of marijuana smokers, for 50% of them, they are, it's just a phase in their life. They'll probably stop at some point and mature or whatever.
Yeah.
We shouldn't probably call it maturing, but whatever you call it. I guess technically it's growing because it became new people who don't smoke weed anymore. But but then just get antidote. I can't even say it right.
Analytical?
No, like an antidote.
Okay.
But antidote. But anyways, means my personal story is for me it's a couple things, but one of the main things was like, all right, well, if I smoke weed, now what? Watch TV, eat food. Like, it just became whatever, monotonous and boring.
Right.
And just very vapious. It was like the vapiest thing. Like, all right, just smoke. That doesn't really mean anything anymore.
And you definitely, while you were in the headspace, were you as inspired to listen to a book or read a book at that time?
No way.
No way, see? Because you're like, well, what am I going to retrieve or receive from this book and keep? Right?
100%.
I just feel like it's inevitable. At least I would hope it is. For somebody that has goals and aspirations, where to go from here, or I want to get from here to there, what do I need to let go of? It's probably the one and only thing holding you back.
Yeah, it could, very, very well could be. I mean, and alcohol is pretty interesting drug. Alcohol is actually a crazy drug when you think about it.
It is.
It's like super crazy.
It's like
people just get completely inebriated and just it's crazy.
Back when I was drinking more often, it was like, oh man, I can't wait to go home and have that drink. But then you get it, and then you wake up the next day, and it's a headache, and your stomach hurts, and everything feels weird. So I feel like personally, for me, a lot of people have addiction problems and stuff like that. For me personally, it was like, this is one feeling I could definitely do without.
Yeah, I bet. Waking up freaking beat and all that.
Just being, it's so bad. And then your whole memory is fuzzy, and like, you try to remember back, but you can't. It sucks. There's definitely nothing encouraging through it, you know. It's funny though, because when we're kids, we're like, yeah, I can't wait to grow up, I can't wait to drink, I can't wait to do these things, and freedom and all that. But then you grow up and you realize freedom isn't free and it's not even really a thing. So
freedom isn't free.
So then you're like, all right, I need to have goals and aspirations, because if not, then where do I go from here?
Good point.
It shouldn't be a goal to just make your next score on an 8, you know?
That's another good point.
Yeah, because it's not a very good goal. What about
it's a good goal if my meta goal, my big goal is not very much. If it's a mid goal, then it would be right.
If what?
If my main goal was like, yeah, then it's like, who cares?
Well, yeah, but then we can all agree that your other goal wasn't really that important.
Yeah.
If you're willing to sacrifice your main goal, your big picture here,
a lot of people
for something that's a temporary fix right now, it wasn't really a good goal.
It was never even probably a goal. Technically, I feel like you can't have a goal if you ain't working towards it. Just a desire or a feeling or something. But yeah, it's been getting late, guys. Thanks for coming out. We're going to be wrapping up tonight.
Hey, this has been Telejohn the Don.
I am Big Skoom.
And this has been
Skoom Speech. Skoom.